Kenjaku is him. This curse user is undoubtedly among the most broken characters in Jujutsu Kaisen. It's actually crazy how skilled this dude is with everything Jujutsu. Everything. When you think of the strongest characters in Jujutsu Kaisen, of course, Gojo and Sukuna are a given. But in the current state of the story, characters like Yuki, Yuta, Hakari, Kashimo, they are indeed strong, and Kenjaku is right up there with them. He has seen it all in this cursed world, and he is the one who transcended time and incarnated sorcerers through centuries, which is why I view Kenjaku among the strongest capable sorcerers in this current time in the series, with Gojo sealed and Sukuna incarnated partially inside of Yuji. Kenjaku is a serious problem. Kenjaku is basically everything a sorcerer should be. Before even considering his maze of curse techniques, he is exceptional at everything. Physically, Kenjaku, hosted in Gero's body, was actually said to be equal to Gojo in terms of hand-to-hand combat. And also, apparently, he has one of the strongest grip strengths out of any sorcerer, whatever Gege is implying there. But seriously, Kenjaku is very impressive. Versus Chozo, he flawlessly dodges piercing blood attacks, which have extremely fast startup, and even parried the blood when faced point blank to the head. He is an extremely high level combatant, meaning when Kenjaku engages in close quarters, he's highly proficient and a very good opportunist, because even when he is outmatched, he has the tools and the means to get an advantage in various ways. You name it, he's got it. Curtains, simple domain, domain amplification, domain expansion, maximum techniques, reverse curse technique reversal. He is an outstanding sorcerer with nearly every move in the series. He is such a high level barrier user that even Lord Tengen specifically mentions him as one of the few who can match him in barrier techniques. And of course, he is the second most powerful barrier user in the entire series. That is not to be taken lightly because Kenjaku is sick. This dude is so good at barrier techniques that he calls the master a boring shut-in. Tengen is someone who can erase a domain expansion that has no set barrier boundary. They use the domain's own effective range to shut down the domain's curse technique altogether using the Sunyata barrier. They can control the fundamental space of nothing to create something, and Kenjaku can match that. He's even displayed it. Kenjaku is a domain master, an example of a very non-standard user of barriers, like through his use of amplification, which uses the property of a domain expansion to cancel out curse technique, and an armor-like aura, which he taught Jogo and Hanami, and also to use one's own body as a domain, by far the most unique showcase of a domain, because that was something never seen before, to strengthen a curse technique output by lapsing the amplified technique using a domain of the body. In Kenjaku's example, he lapsed his anti-gravity system using his body's domain to negate Yuki's black hole. So in the presence of a real black hole, which is so dense that it consumes light itself, he survived through the use of domains. He's got powerful reverse curse technique, healing himself from grave injury and even fixing bodies that have already died violently like Gero Suguru's. Kenjaku also applies the rare curse technique reversal skill to inverse his technique's effect. Which brings us to his maze of techniques. Kenjaku has a lot of loopholes, and technically he should not have as many curse techniques as he does, but he's found unknown ways to gain them through a series of binding vows and other means. He possesses an unknown amount of innate techniques from his body hopping curse technique, and right now we only know of two, being anti-gravity system from Kaori Itadori and curse spirit manipulation from Gero Suguru. Using said curse spirit manipulation, he can even harness even more single-use techniques from his cursed spirit army. I don't know if you guys are seeing this curse technique inception like I am, but Kenjaku is mad broken. Body hopping plus curse manipulation is perhaps the most wild thing within Kenjaku, because even with its limits like curse technique storage, binding vows, etc., Kenjaku overhauls these techniques to the max. which is how he can pull off impossible feats, such as releasing 10 million curses into the world, and even surviving the mass and density of a black hole. His domain expansion itself, Womb Profusion, is a domain without a barrier like Sukuna's because of course, why not? So the domain would include real physical objects in its effective range, and force Simple Domain and Hollow Wicker Basket countermeasures to break apart because there's no barrier to negate. Currently we have no clue what the sure hit even is. It's very likely gravity, but it really could be anything. Kenjaku's domain probably originates from Kenjaku himself as an entity, and based on the name, Kenjaku likely has a large quantity of moves at his disposal using it. And even outside of a domain expansion, Kenjaku already has abilities like curse manipulation to command hordes of low-grade spirits that will blatantly low-diff grade 1 level opponents when hit. It's all at Kenjaku's whim where the spirits appear or how they manifest. The spirits cover him, they hide him, they move him, and when he uses quality spirits of a higher level, even they could possess abilities that present a challenge, especially a special grade curse, when the curses are stacked and stacked with overwhelming amounts of options that Kenjaku has. In his recent fight, Kenjaku used gravity to shut down every obstacle in his 6-meter vicinity for 6 seconds, and fill that cooldown time in turn with curse manipulation to then hide his move of a mini Uzumaki attack, a strategy which proved enough to take down special grade Yuki Tsukumo. So Kenjaku can utilize Geto's Uzumaki to harness curse techniques, he can output condensed curse energy into maximum techniques, or release a lower output of curses in a mini attack that proves just as deadly. Kenjaku is really freaking strong. He's 1000 plus years old and hinted at being even older, as the Ruve's incarnation is well over 2000 years old. And Kenjaku has lived through these years, fighting, scheming, making vows, improving, refining, and collecting, becoming the menace that he is today. Obviously he understands his position, and he's not so powerful as to be compared to the likes of Gojo and Sukuna. Nonetheless, Kenjaku is a top tier sorcerer, and very few could actually match him in terms of skill. So Kenjaku virtually has every skill in the series, and he's quite a bit better than his host Geto was in the past in terms of ability. The contrast is so great, in fact, that they virtually live in different worlds. Again, if you ask me, Kenjaku is likely the 3rd strongest individual in the series, and he still has a decent bit to showcase in terms of raw skill and ability as a villain really, but he has certainly proved himself to be the worst of all curse users. So what do you guys feel about Kenjaku? Will any new age sorcerers be able to stop him like Yuta and company? It's interesting that with all of Kenjaku's plans and experience, he still has yet to even acknowledge Yuta's strength and blatantly downplays him, which I really enjoy because now we have this grudge match of Yuta Okkotsu versus Kenjaku to see who will come out on top in the end. There's certainly potential here for greatness toward the latter stage of Jujutsu Kaisen, so share your comments below. This has been Enemy Stand User, and I'll see you awesome guys in the next one. Bye bye.